Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of Gotham City Chronicles. Tonight we're going to be talking some Gotham City stories, and that means I got my man, as always, Kavi with me if I'm talking about Batman or Batman-related stuff. How's it going, sir?
I don't know why I just
saluting. I like it.
Yeah, I guess you're Jim Gordon, and I'm somebody
you're
that
Batman. That's
fine. Yeah, what's up, dude? Good to be back in. I guess. Well, this is Gotham related, more Gotham so than
related,
and more Gotham in these volumes.
Yes, she is actually in or adjacent to Gotham in this volume, as opposed to like across the country. So,
yes. I feel like a Mr. Freeze story would have been appropriate for the way I'm feeling right now, because I'm cold and I just can't get warm for whatever reason.
I was gonna say, with the beanie and the black hoodie and stuff, I feel like we should be reading Batman Year One. You're like early Batman Bruce right now.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping this run going, and I'm enjoying it without spoiling thoughts beyond that. So
we'll dig into that. But we're talking more Poison Ivy. We're talking volumes 3 and 4 of the current run, and we're not allowed to talk Poison Ivy with our guest tonight, without our guest tonight, because some people claim he's the Storm guy, but I think that has changed. I think he's now the Poison Ivy guy. What's up, John?
Yeah. All the Poison Ivy. Give me all the Poison Ivy.
Has Storm been knocked off her perch? Is John's number one?
As far as quality reading in the moment, sure.
Right.
I'll give her the reigning crown. But she is this. Let's think about it. She might be the Storm of DC, as far as like caring about the earth and nature and trying to keep the planet in balance. There's a little parable there, maybe.
I mean, look at these kind of images, man. Why does she look like Phoenix all the time in this run? To me, like
there's a lot of psychedelic.
I get a lot of like these crazy Jean Grey looking splashes in this run, but I really like it.
It does, for sure. So let's see. We had my man GT Key in here early tailgating. As was John. John actually beat him today. What the heck? That's a rarity.
I didn't think any of my comments would survive this. Nope, they didn't survive the StreamYard purge. That was at 117. I had another comment before that, something about I don't think this comment will be here.
There you go. We got our man Magic Lasso hanging out with us.
Hey,
What's going on, Ryan? Welcome, sir. Adam makes stuff up. How are you? Hope you're doing well. John says Gotham City adjacent. Well, she's in Gotham City. She's out of Gotham City in this one. It's a little back and forth.
Batman's actually in these more often.
Plenty of Gotham in these volumes. Characters and setting. So
John is T Pig. Okay, that Poison Ivy guy.
Poison Ivy guy.
So yeah, we are talking volumes 3 and 4 of G. Willow Wilson's run, issues 13 through 24. So, Kavi, general thoughts? Did this live up to the first 2 volumes? What did you think of the continuation here?
I would say I enjoyed volume 4 more than the entire probably rest of the. Let me give you I'll give the short answer. Yes, I enjoyed volume 3 and 4 just as much as I enjoyed volume 1 and 2, if not more, because of 3 issues in volume 4, which I think are now potentially in the, let's collect Poison Ivy, the updated version of that video that you would have to do. Where you have these 3 now origin of Poison Ivy key issues, I think, in that volume I think are probably like some of the highlights of the entire run to date. So
I would completely agree with that. Yes, we get a updated origin, and it is exceedingly well done, and we will definitely talk about that more. What about you, John?
Overall, really like?
I mean, I was very happy with it. For me, this felt like, and maybe I'm such an omnibus reader now that everything is in that format. I'm thinking this would be like a great 24 issue omnibus. Like it's the whole saga of the Lamia spores, of her, issues with Woodrue. I think you have all of that, and there's side quests, of course, all the way through it. But this is the culmination of that saga, and I think it builds to great intensity. And one of my favorite parts is that 3 issue, we'll get to like Origin of the Species, but it's a great
So good.
way to inject, the significance of the past happening on the present.
Yeah, not just the significance of how she becomes Poison Ivy, as far as mutant or whatever you want to call it, not mutant,
right?
Supernatural powers, but
how she gets her powers, how all of it comes about.
How she was twisted to do bad things for the first time. They become poison.
For sure. We do get to see, so I think this is exceptionally well done, because we talked about it in the first one that originally this was supposed to be a 6-issue miniseries. It became a 12-issue maxi series, and it became an ongoing. And Wilson basically did, in my opinion, write this first 24 issues. It's sort of one story. It's the Lamina Spore story. She extended it and made it worthwhile. The Woodrue Lamina Spore story, dealing with all of that, and made it into 24, I think, pretty fantastic issues with a few, like you said, there's a few side quests in here. So yeah, I think these first 4 volumes altogether are outstanding. I think the whole thing peaked, like we're going to talk about, with those 3 issues toward the end. But yeah, for me, there's a reason that I love the series. Only second, I think, to John.
And we get a full name reveal for Janet from HR in issue 14.
We do finally get a full name reveal for Janet from HR.
That's another key issue. What else? What else do we get?
I mean, a retelling and a reimagining of her origin in a kind of interesting way. I know that there have been books that covered her origin, but this felt like a more comprehensive, maybe, a way to look at her becoming Poison Ivy.
And we also see her connections with a bunch of the other green related characters.
Alec and Linda Holland, Phil Sylvain.
There's a huge connection that they all kind of came from this one place and have this relationship that ties them together, that ties Woodrue to all of these different, to Swamp Thing and all of, like you said, the coming. And so there's a bunch of people that are in here in her origin, but we also get more with her and Harley, but we also get her and Killer Croc, which I think
Catwoman cameo in there, right? But I wish there was more of her, but it was 1 or 2 pages of her.
Oh
right?
yeah, Catwoman. We just get Selena for just a moment.
Yeah. But we get Batman multiple times. I think.
We get Batman multiple times. We also
a lot of Solomon Grundy, a lot of
we get a lot of Solomon Grundy. So I mean, we spend quite a bit of time in Slaughter Swamp, so we get a lot of Killer Croc. We get a lot of Solomon Grundy. So yeah, this picks up basically. I mean, any other big thoughts before we start digging into some of the issues and the stories here?
No, not really. I mean, I think everything from there is specific and
okay. Picks up basically where we left off the first 2 volumes. Ivy had her trek all the way across the country to Seattle, had her showdown with Woodrue, picked up Janet from HR, and was headed back to Gotham.
8 Woodrue to some degree.
8 Woodrue, yes. which comes back to, we'll deal with, that.
I was going to say that
Connor a little bit as we
the creepy pregnancy cover is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and she comes back and realizes that the Lamina spores that she thought were just killing people are actually turning them into zombies, and they're following her to Gotham. So she's
including Chuck, who I forgot about, and then was reminded about.
With our example being Chuck, who she doesn't actually know, but we see
he's like he's like the symbol for every other person that's coming, basically. Yeah. Is Chuck.
So we do get Chuck's story here early on. So what do you think of the setup of how Wilson continues this Lamina spore thing that we got at the beginning, the consequences of what she'd done in that first volume, kind of coming home to roost? What do you think about how she continues to use the mushrooms and the Lamina spores here, Kavi? What do you think about this?
I think it's still, to me, the most confusing part of the entire story, of the storytelling, because of the whole introduction of that other character, Undyne or whatever.
Yeah, we get into him and
I'm a little confused by I'm a little confused by Green Steel, Undyne, what's going on over there, and what happens later on in volume 4 when he all of a sudden shows up in Slaughter Swamp and like he does something to like help her or something, but I don't quite know what, like there's some of these details I'm a little still hazy on, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Like, like can you remind me exactly what like the shocking development was in volume 3? That, I mean, because I know by the end of volume 3, Poison Ivy's presumably dying because all this Lamia-spore stuff finally has gotten to her, right? Like
she kind of offers. Well, I guess that is that volume 3 or volume 4.
I think it's the end of volume 3,
so
where she's kind of dying all throughout volume 4.
I don't know where the break points are because I always read them all together.
Yeah, so
at
the end of issue 18, she's like dying, basically.
So the first issue of volume 3 is basically just her and Harley reconnecting and her being back in Gotham, and her trying to reach out
meeting
to
up with Batman and all these other characters.
Yeah. And that's where we see Catwoman and basically warns her that the Bat's looking for her. And then issues 14, 15 is basically, even into 16 is kind of her. We meet Undyne. Basically, she meets up with Croc, and she wants his cabin in the swamp, and they make a deal.
She needs the secret lair that's far away from the Bat family, basically.
Yes.
At the end of 18, it's
safe. We run into Undyne, and we get this weird thing with this weird building and green steel, and it's
because I think that whole thing kind of confused me a little bit. Like both times I read that volume, I was a little confused about the takeaway from that. And then the next thing I know, like he's showing up later, during like the climactic issues of the next volume.
So the issue 18 ends with her basically giving birth to Woodrue.
Yeah.
And the monster comes out of her.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then
so when does she start dying? Is that at the beginning of this volume? Or
I mean, it's easy to say.
Like, through most
for
of
me,
volume,
it's issue 22 when she basically admits 22. Like, this is going to kill me.
Okay, because that's when they finish the whole origin.
She's basically tying herself and Woodrue together and saying, no, the Lamia-spores can just eat us both. I don't give a, whatever.
Yeah,
and she's just letting them all come and eat and destroy the both of them.
I remember the explanation about it not being a mass it's not a mass pandemic level bug, that it was intended for some sort of surveillance or something, but I wasn't quite sure how that was going to actually come into play. Is that because Woodrue was like trying to create a weapon out of it or something? Like,
so basically, if this takes us all the way back to like volume 1, but originally she thought of it as, I can spread these spores and they're just going to kill people, and it's going to be
that I remember
a pandemic that kills everyone. And what she comes to find out is, though, it's not actually killing people nearly as rapidly as she thought, but it's actually more of a mind control zombie thing that it's turning them into. And that's what Woodrue was wanting to use it for.
He's manipulating the zombies.
Yes.
And
in this
taking
volume,
control.
She realizes, like in volume 3, she basically is like, okay, I got to do something about these zombies. So she's working on a cure. She tries to get Batman to like help her, and he's a jerk, which is, typical. But meanwhile, she's trying to, we get the little side quest with Croc, but then she's having pain and like something's wrong with her, but she's ignoring it because she's trying to work on this cure. And that's when, of course, Woodrue ends up making his return. And then we get the origin, and then the final kind of fight is the last 3 issues or whatever.
Yeah, the last 3 issues are almost like one battle. Yeah,
and that's the part of the arc where, in my head, it's basically like, okay, she's in dire straits, but she's focused on this one battle. But there was this whole sequence where she visits the Tree of Life. Right.
Yeah, it gets super psychedelic, right?
Yeah, which I thought looked really cool, but I can't say I fully understood it, but I thought it looked really cool, and I get enough crossover from reading things like Swamp Thing where it's like, okay, yeah, I get what's going on, without having to know every little
Yeah,
detail.
so the Tree of Life thing is right at the end after she's basically given herself up, and when Grundy walks her into the swamp, like that's basically.
And it's like, oh, you know, stop being so problematic.
Yeah, the green is like, dude, we're not done with you.
It's like you're not dying. Go back, but stop bothering me so much. You know,
yeah, stop being a pain.
Stop messing with the shrooms. And I was like, okay, that's enough closure for me on that. You know, like I didn't need, like, I liked the first 4 volumes, but the whole Lamia-spore thing and the different iterations of it, I thought was the hardest part to follow, I guess, from the beginning of volume 1 to the end of volume 4. There's a through line there, but maybe, you know, because of the way I read it, like I read volume 1 and 2 really quickly in short succession. Then I had a long break in between. Then I read volume 3 and 4 real quickly in short succession. And that was, you know, and now I've had another couple days, you know, where it's been out of my head. I don't know. But yeah, every other part of the story, I think I get right away, except for that, I guess. You know what I mean? I just find that to be the most challenging part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, John? What do you think of the?
I think there's definitely an element of like psychedelic mushrooms going on all through this series, and I it's what gives the artwork, when it's done right, like that special something, because there's a lot of sort of subtextual abstract pieces going on. I think it is hard to differentiate sometimes what's real and what is a hallucination caused by the Lamia spores, and especially for Ivy, who is now being corrupted by it in a different way because of Woodrue and because of being sort of like connected to the green in this unusual way. You know, it is all mixing together, and there's definitely ways to interpret it, you know, that you could definitely have some abstraction.
Yeah, for me it was more there was connective tissue there, but like I remember more the interactions between the characters, you know, the specific backstory stuff for, you know, for Woodrue, Bella, Garten, her, the whole relationship, all the stuff in Seattle. Like, you know, like I didn't think about Lamia spores, but I guess that's the true genesis of it was back then, right? Like doing all that fucking what were they were in like some sort of weird like holding cell container thing, like cargo container thing. Cargo container.
Yeah,
like doing research, doing fringe research.
Yeah,
you know, and whatnot. So yeah, like I guess it was there as a through line all along, even when they go back in time and do the whole origin and whatnot. So yeah, it's all connected, and I think it all works. I just couldn't tell you 100%. You know what I mean?
It is a little confusing because I do feel like through this she changed the rules of how the Lamia spores work changed through as we go through this.
Yeah, basically in every volume it kind of changed a little.
They basically, and she writes it off as they mutated. you know,
and I think that
the
is
wild strain was in me first or whatever.
And you could chalk that up, of course, to a writer having to edit on the fly this plot from 6 to ongoing issues, and how do I manipulate this for plot effect. But I do think just as a reader, it worked for me, and I did not have any problem with it. But I did recognize it as, you know, in some regards, a MacGuffin plot device kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I did enjoy the whole like Janet kissing Harley, and then like the awkward like, wait, who knows what about what in this like love triangle thing, even though it's not really a love triangle. It's just like a big joke. It's like just a big farce, basically.
They joke. They even joke about it when she admits, like in dramatic fashion in issue 24, I kissed her. Oh my gosh! And everybody's like, "Who cares? Like, get your freak on, girl."
So yeah, that's a So Kami is very cool.
Yeah, sorry to hear about the freezing stuff going on in the chat there from Wolf. Man, it's brutal out.
Definitely super cool. Yeah. So what did you think of let's start there. What do you think? We got Janet in the first 2 volumes, or in volume 2, we got Janet, and she sticks around. She's still tagging around with Ivy. Obviously, in this volume, she ends up making out with Harley at some point. Her and Ivy have already been in bed together at one point. So Janet is, and she ends up getting confronted by Batman at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to hit him with her.
Isn't that why, like, because Harley kind of like saves her from that encounter in a way, and then
Harley pulls her out of that. Start with John. So, what do you think of Janet and how we continue to use Janet from HR in this volume?
Obviously she's a
Janet Amelia Mitchell.
Yes, Janet Amelia Mitchell from HR.
She's another plot device character, and I could see her being like distracting or boring to some people. I like her as an audience surrogate at certain times to be able to like put some grounding to this really buck wild plot with some really outlandish characters. It's nice to be able to ground those things. It's hard when your most grounded character is like Killer Croc of all people. Croc is like, look, I just want to live in. He's like the Shrek of this story. I just want to live in my swamp.
But he also won't let Ivy use like any of his DNA to like help with the cure, even though he's immune.
He's afraid of his blood. Yes, he doesn't want to bleed.
He's afraid of needles.
Shrek. I don't want to be on your stupid quest. I guess that makes
that was kind of a sweet moment where he's like, I was afraid of the needles, and then she was like, oh, you poor baby.
Yeah, I just think
in this universe, it's
like he even talked about that they were bent and couldn't actually puncture him, so he was still afraid of them.
Yeah. I think this, the concept is so, like we said, surreal and so it's just magnificent. Like there's just a lot of things at stake here that having a character like that just kind of helps, I think, for the audience in some ways.
Yeah, Kavi showing off some art. We'll definitely talk about the art some more. What about you, Kavi? You were like, Janet is fine in volume 2 when we talked about it last time. We got 2 more volumes of Janet. She's still here. What did you think of Janet in this 2 volumes?
Yeah, like, I mean, I'd say the same with what I pretty much agree exactly with what John said. Like, I think there's an element of her being there for quote like she quoted, hold on, wait up for me. I'll be there for the one-liners, right? Like that was like a meta joke on that page. I don't remember what issue that specifically was, but I remember that meta joke. Because that's kind of, it's so because that's in certain scenarios, that's what she is there for. But in other scenarios, like what John said, she's there to kind of be like the normal person in the room or whatever, like the normal, the most normal voice or person in most of these rooms. So, yeah. I think it works for that. I don't have the type of expectations for the character one way or the other where it's going to bother me. Like I don't see how it could really bother anyone that much, but I guess maybe people are bothered by it. So I don't know, I don't know. I think it's fine, but I don't think about it that seriously. It's just part of the tapestry of this story. It's not the main focus. So yeah.
No, I think she's used well. I agree with both of you on this. I think Janet is used really well here as both an audience surrogate, a little bit of comedy relief with some of her silliness, and just she's not overused, but she's used well. The role that she's given, I think she works really well in for me. So I don't have any problems with her there. So we talked a little bit about this. We meet Undyne here, this flower-faced former executive. Like, we get a little bit of Green Steel. We don't really get an explanation of that.
It was like some sort of crazy like alloy, but had like horrible repercussions for like the environment or something. But I don't remember every detail. But that was like
it's what he's using to build this skyscraper downtown. Yeah, he's a great visual character. He is so wild. So,
but
kind of reminds me of Stranger Things a little bit. Like Demogorgons and stuff a little bit, but less scary in the design, more colorful and vibrant, I guess. But
Yeah. He's interesting in the fact that like we see him initially and he's like in this building and he kind of traps Ivy and they have to get out, her and Croc, and they get away from him. But then he shows up at the end, like helping them, and we never really get his motivation.
That's what that's what I was saying earlier. Like I didn't quite understand. I didn't quite connect from where we left off with him in the scene with Ivy in the Undyne. What was it, headquarters or something? I don't even remember.
I got the sense, and maybe you guys got a different, that he basically dies in that bit when she confronts him there. And what we see of him later is either a figment of her imagination or just his connection now that he is a piece of the green, that she can activate. He doesn't exist as the way he was originally.
But I thought the other characters were
interacting.
Yeah, I thought the other characters were interacting with him during that whole.
Yeah, but I get the sense that it's in like this other form, that it's not the version of him that he was prior to the story that we see.
Okay.
And obviously he's a stand-in for just corporate greed. He represents just somebody he's a Lex Luthor who got a bite of his own medicine, you know.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, we clearly get to this backstory. It's like he effed up and brought this on himself to make him into this whatever it is he is. But it's not well explained why he would help them at the end, why he shows up to help them at the end. But
unless it is later, but I haven't gone beyond this, so yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that I remember seeing him much going forward, but I've only read past issue 24. I've only read everything one time. The pre-24 stuff I've read a few times now.
There's only one full volume out after that, and then it's single issues, or
well, no,
because I think they're at like 39 or 40 now.
Okay, so there's got at least 2 then, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if Volume 5 has been published. I don't know if Volume 6 is at like the collected Volume 6.
Right, like the trade version is not out.
The trade version is out. Yeah. Gotcha. So it ought to be because we're well enough past it now. I would think it would be, but if it did, it maybe just came out. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about Croc. We talked about. So how do we feel about how Batman is used here in this volume? As a like not very helpful, kind of a big jerk, like that they just like literally like they interact with each other.
It's like two opposing philosophies to try and do the same, to accomplish the same kind of goals between Poison Ivy and Batman, and so I like that. I like that scene between them where they're like kind of walking through their differences in a way. But he does then help at the end. And I think am I to assume that it's just, that between the case that Ivy was making to him, about how important this is to fix ASAP, plus whatever Harley said to him is what led him to actually go with the plan to whatever replicate.
Well, he probably investigated, and we don't really ever see for sure. But
were they calling it a vaccine or something, or what were they calling it? I forget. Not really.
I don't remember.
Honestly,
she does have a name for it. Though. Yeah, it's something like a vaccine.
Antidote.
Antidote.
Okay.
Antidote. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a ton of him, but we get just enough to connect the dots to the conclusion of this arc, I guess. Yeah.
What about you, John? What do you think of Batman's use here?
I was going to ask you guys because I do question this as part of Gotham City Chronicles, because in a way it is very adjacent to it, and it's the villain's perspective in some regard. You get obviously Ivy first and foremost, but a little Harley, a little Grundy, a little Croc here in this volume, and it continues going forward. I like that it's basically Batman from the heroes from the villain's perspective, and as a result, you're forced to kind of see the drawbacks that he has as a character in their world, right? And the flaws that he brings. And I like that he is willing. what I think they don't see is his willingness to listen, his willingness to show up when needed. Of course, we get Jason Todd in a big way showing
I was just
up.
about to
Like
say the whole hood thing.
the family does participate, and I think it reminded me in that way. It reminds me of that animated series episode when Batman is acting as Bruce Wayne, trying to help Harley when she's on the outside, right? When she gets out. And there's a little bit of that from Bruce here.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting because you do see, like, you talk about that he listens, and ultimately he does, but when they're face to face, there's so much baggage between the two of them that they can't communicate with each other worth a darn. Like, she's trying to tell him something, and they just won't like accept each other, that they're both trying to fix something, that they're both on the same side on this particular thing. So they end up just arguing, sort of just to argue. And then once he takes it and goes back and like, okay, does his own reason, oh, this is actually a problem. He does help, but it is fun, like, to see them, the baggage doesn't let him see that when she initially approaches him, she's trying to help something, fix something. And so I think it's a fun interaction, and it's definitely, he doesn't come off the best here because we are seeing it from her perspective of how he reacts to her, assuming the worst all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he reacts essentially how I would expect Batman to. So, yeah.
No, I'm not saying that it's not expected, but like from her perspective, it's like, just listen to me for once. And he just and he does. I mean, and ultimately he does help, but while they're face to face, he's very antagonistic toward her, which is completely.
Well, and I think it might take into account a little bit of where this fits in canon, right? As far as the destruction she had unleashed on Gotham before becoming this version of Ivy.
The whole Queen Ivy thing, yes.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely some salted wounds for Batman when he sees that she's back. You know, I think that's what we're seeing, at least in these early appearances here.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was like, because he basically was like, your return to Gotham is on our radar. Like, you know, like he came right out with it, basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's where we get the one interaction with Selena, and she's like, "Hey, Pam, he's looking for you." Like,
duck out.
It's like he's heard your back. Be ready. So, anything else before we get to what I think is the highlight, maybe of the whole series to this point? For sure, I think of these two volumes, issues 19, 20, and 21, Origin of Species. Anything else before we get to that you guys want to think about from the beginning part?
No, I think we should talk about that. And I'm so glad that Takara did all three of those issues consistently. In that, I mean, I think the guy that they got for 22, 23, 24, Hanig, or I'm not sure how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
I thought he did a decent job of sort of emulating Takara a little bit, like the best out of any of these guest artists so far.
Yeah.
Throughout until up until that point, like I don't think anyone was doing it. You know, they weren't really.
Everybody was doing their own style.
Everyone, right? All the other
doing their own thing.
But he did like a decent job. Where I feel like the final three issues after the Origin that Takara did the 3 issues for actually fit quite well with it for the first time. For guest artist wise, but the Takara art in the Origins, especially with, you know, you're drawing your super young student age versions of these characters. It's just really compelling art, you know.
No, I agree with that for sure. I think, and I want to talk a little bit more about the art when we get there, or before we get done. But yeah, I think what is it? Hanning, what is it?
Hanning,
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Definitely does a better job of having a similar style to Takara than any of the others who kind of just do their own thing. Like, when you open 13, well, the art style in 13 changes like 3 times.
13 has like 4 artists. It has Kelly Jones has like 6 pages in the middle.
Yeah, there's like that one's all over the place. So, but getting Takara for this 3-issue origin story. So basically, we get at the end of volume 3, we get that Woodrow is back in the swamp. They're surrounded by the zombies. it appears Ivy is dying because he basically came out of her, ripped her open to come out of her, and in this moment we get the flashback to college Poison Ivy going off to college.
You even get pre-college a little with like her parents and stuff.
Yeah, we get a couple of pages of her before she goes to college, her in college, meeting Woodrue for the first time, meeting these other characters we mentioned, Bella and Alan, and
Bella comes later after she starts the relationship with Woodrue, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then that becomes like almost like a love triangle in a way, but then they turn into the better relationship out of the three, and it all falls apart, right?
Yeah. But basically, we see her get sucked into this world of Woodrue as her professor. We see her fall through the course of this. We see her fall for him and get sucked into doing experiments that are clearly off the books because he makes her go to the shipyard into a shipping container to do them. Because they can't
not FDA approved.
These are not FDA approved experiments. And we see her fall down, and then we see Bella come into the picture, sort of try to pull her out, but it's basically too late, and she gets manipulated into being experimented on as we go through this, and being the lab rat, and which is ultimately how she becomes Poison Ivy and gets her abilities. So we get this whole 3-issue origin. Kavi, you're the newest one to this. Obviously, we've talked about it a little bit. What did you think of this origin?
Loved it. For me, the best part of it though was the sequence where I think this is like deep into the point where she's doing the fringe research for Woodrue. And she's like, they run out of supply, or they lose an investor or something like that. And they're like, the investor won't renew, right? Or there's the seed money's gone. I don't forget exactly what Woodrue said, but basically the money's dried up. And the only option to keep this research going is to like steal a bunch of supplies from the university or whatever. So basically she's given kind of like her first heist mission / blatantly criminal act, blatantly criminal act, felony act.
Because you could argue what she does
crossing the road, and she chooses the bad path,
Yeah.
And I think it's like that is the moment she becomes Poison Ivy, and she even says that in the dialogue. So
I think everything up to that point is extremely unethical. But whether it is criminal on the level of a Batman villain is right. Not.
It's legally debatable shit. Yeah.
Versus when she's outright stealing. This is a line in the sand that I think the writer and the artist do a good job of clearly delineating for us so that we can see that transition.
Yeah, absolutely. And we clearly see her basically. We see how he guilts her into this. Do you want this to stop? Like, we're on so close. Like, he guilts her into making her do it so he doesn't have to. Yeah. To keep himself clean. He makes her do it. But we also see her in the moment take the joy of doing, like, the adrenaline rush of doing this and like of actually stealing. And so we see her get the thrill out of it. Like you said, where it's like, hey, I'm going against the way of things.
She is complicit. It's not.
Oh yeah.
It's exactly. I mean, I'm not saying he's clearly manipulating her through this whole thing, but she's a willing participant as we go through this. And
there was nothing stopping her from just saying no and following the other students out of the program.
All the other students. Leave this except for her, and then eventually Bella gets sucked in later. But so no, I think that sequence is really well done in terms of we see her turn into Poison Ivy before she turns into Poison Ivy, basically.
I think they do a good job of avoiding the idea that like somehow she would have been a pure and good person if it weren't for this guy. Instead, it's like, no, she clearly has this really unethical drive. Like, she is driven intensely from the inside out to achieve ends no matter what. And that is her, the core,
which is
of who
what
she
Batman hates. You know what I mean? Like
and
that's
it's what Woodrue takes advantage of, right?
Yeah.
But that drive is her. That is internal. He doesn't like create a criminal, right? She has the drive to and the justification internally to allow her to do these things. He just points her in a direction and nudges her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because even when we see at the end, like you see that moment where, like, yeah, he clearly manipulates her into a position to make her make that choice.
Yeah.
But she makes the choice willingly. And then at the end, when he's like, we're out of time, we got to do like this, or any of you willing to step up, she volunteers.
She says, I'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
She says, I'll do it. He doesn't.
Well, because they figure out he's experimenting on himself, right?
Yeah.
And then that leads him to say, okay, well, if you don't choose to be with me on at this level, then you're not serious enough for me about this.
Yeah.
And then she raises her hand first. And then he's like, I knew you'd be the one or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, or I forget exactly what he says.
He clearly is manipulating her emotionally to put her in that position, but he doesn't like drug her and strap her down and like do this to her.
It's all emotional.
She sticks her hands up and said, yeah, let's do it. Like she chooses to volunteer. And so it is, I mean, she talks about him as being her maker or like doing these horrible things to her, but most of them were her own choices ultimately.
Oh yeah.
And I like that they weren't just trying to make her like a good guy. I think they were trying to be nuanced about who she is and not paint her as hero or villain, but just present like this is who she is. And the issues come because later on other storylines have her, doing villainous things. And it's like she's not a hero, right? She's not a villain and she's not a hero. But she has criminal tendencies because she has justification and a desire to achieve ends. And those things allow her this gray area of existence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else in this 3-issue arc that you guys really want to like bring up and point out? John, you got anything else here that you want to like?
I mean, I do like that we get, and I don't know that they've previously ever shown the moment when she sort of questions her sexuality, because obviously this is a moment for her where she feels like Woodrue loves her or feels like Woodrue understands her, but then she has the same thing for the female character. I can't remember her name.
Bella Garden.
Yeah, for Bella, that I think triggers the same response. Now, both of these relationships are toxic in their own way, but I do think they highlight aspects of who she is differently, and those of us that have read the character long enough can see like the seeds, without being too metaphorical, that grow poison ivy.
Yeah. What about you, Kavi? Anything else?
I mean, I selfishly, I think it would be cool to just keep doing issues from that time period, like that pick up right after that, like, but that's just me because I was just so compelling during that stretch that even the resolution of the arc after that didn't feel as grandiose to me as just experiencing that origin. So I don't know. Yeah.
No, I would say
because at no point did I believe was she really going to die. You know what I mean? Like, in those final 3 issues, you're kind of teased with that possibility, right? That she's sacrificing herself or whatever. But at no point did I truly believe that in the back of my head, I guess, just because it's comics and just because I know there's more volumes and it's just kind of, So for me, like the climax of that arc of that volume was the origin more so than the Lamia stuff. But
I think as it should be, because it feels like a twist or a reveal that allows us to have the 3-issue climax be the culmination, right? Where it's like, oh crap, now the stakes have been elevated.
Yeah.
And I would say that the one thing that I would say that I do think is the weakest part of the 3-issue origin is how quickly we go from her getting experimented on to she's in Gotham and she's been captured for the first time, and you're like, that is like,
yeah, because they do a speed run through like, oh, this is Poison Ivy from this, the Silver.
Yeah, this is Poison Ivy showing up in Gotham and meeting Batman. And so we get a speed run there that, like, I was like, oh, we could have done this for more. So then, yes, we get into the final climax. She's battling Woodrow in the swamp. She's battling him and all the zombie Lamia things.
Solomon Grundy is like pushing fucking
Solomon Grundy and
then,
Killer Croc are trying to protect Janet and fight these monsters off. And Ivy comes to the realization that, like, okay, I'm trying to control him. He's trying to control him. Like, I'm not getting anywhere, so I'm just going to tell him to kill us both, and ties herself to Woodrow to try to get them both annihilated. Of course, Harley shows up to help. Randomly, of all the Bat characters, randomly it's Red Hood.
Red Hood's there. His motorcycle lights shit on fire somehow.
Yeah, he uses his motorcycle to burn the zombies. So what did we think about the Red Hood being randomly? It wasn't Batman. It was Red Hood.
Yeah, I think it checks out. I think it checks out. Like, just send Jason. Just send Jason to help.
It's the island of misfit bat toys. That's what we have here, right? No, I think obviously this is the retribution for what she caused, right? This is the result. And even if we sympathize and enjoy the first few, trades where we see her trying to wipe out the human race,
trying to do a pandemic,
she has to pay for this, right? She has to be brought to some level of, realization on this. And that's what this is. She attempts to take all the burden onto herself. It doesn't work. She tends to bring, Woodrow down with her. It doesn't work. She needs people that are willing to say, you did it for the right reasons. You screwed up, but you did it for the right reasons. And they're all willing to support her and be there for her.
So, I mean, it's really the others that is the only reason Woodrow truly goes down is because, she weakens him, but the others contribute to him dying.
Yeah.
For now, we'll see how long. It's a member of the Green. I don't think they ever stay dead.
Right.
Which is kind of what we see here. Ivy appears to be dead at the end of this, and like she's happened several times. She grows back, basically. We get the cool sequence with the Tree of Life you talked about, which, and at the end of this, all's well that ends well, and Ivy and Harley are together, and they're in the swamp. Any thoughts on how they wrap this up here?
Well, they did have that whole funny sequence where they find out about
where Janet's guilt gets the better of her.
That was fun.
So any other thoughts on how this wraps up?
I mean, we haven't touched on the art too much, but I feel like this is where the art shines the most for me, is given these moments of kind of abstract,
crazy, psychedelic.
That's not Takara. That's
and that's the Hanig.
That's Hanig stuff or Hanig. Yeah,
he did a great job. Like, not only doing like trying to do the normal like Takara look, but he did the psychedelic Takara stuff kind of good too. So.
Yeah, because I mean, you get pages like. Let's go here.
I honestly,
the one behind JP. I mean, it's just amazing.
I never heard of this artist until reading this. So
you get Ivy looks fairly similar to the way Takara draws her.
Yeah,
it just is Haning.
But they've done color work like this all the way through. Where there's pages where it just gets kind of like warped and wild, and the colors are really vibrant and unusual, and it feels like this is just the climax of that as well. The art style climax is in a different kind of way. And when we get those bits with where she's in the world tree, I think there's some really, I don't know, 2001 kind of stuff happening here that I think I really dig. Like, I just wanted to soak in these pages for a bit. And I loved going back through and just looking at the art, not necessarily reading
that panel behind me where like the Tree of Life appears and her her
Oh my
face is
God.
like shining through it. I love that one.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, I think they just do there's some really cool stuff. And
I think
most of it,
John
I
just
think,
likes
is
this panel is the one
24.
John
You know, I mean,
likes.
that's
Oh yeah, that one's good.
splendid. Enjoyable.
Because she gets saved by the tree of life,
Yeah.
and then she's naked. All of a
Yeah,
sudden.
and then they're like, "Oh, she's naked." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I can fix that." And then we get her, of course, in the classic.
Right.
You know.
That's
and ultimately, this is a return to her abilities as we've kind of known them most often in the comics. So this 24 issue saga is her dealing with what happened to her abilities, what these new abilities look like, and then perhaps something of a return to form by the end.
Yeah.
Solomon Grundy still hates Swamp.
I mean, I love how, I will say on the Grundy things, I love how Wilson uses that. He only says those the born on a Monday.
Yeah, the same.
All these stuff, but he uses each of those appropriately, like for the situation that you can tell, like
married on Wednesday.
Married on Wednesday when he's like trying to flirt with Ivy.
Yeah,
she's like, "Careful, big boy." And he's like, And then when everyone's dead, he's like, "Died on a Sunday," and he's like going through the whole I do enjoy the way Solomon is used here. I think it's really well done. Him and Croc, I think, are really well used.
Agree. You don't usually get comedic relief like that works on such a I don't know. It's like a meta level, I guess, in a way.
It reminds me of Catwoman Lonely City. Was that the one? I think where she has a lot of time with a sort of Killer Croc that's a little bit more comedic.
That version of Killer Croc is still my favorite.
And there's a little bit of that here for me with the way they use Grundy and the way they use Croc. So I was all for it, and I'm happy to say that at least Croc has had a regular presence for a lot of the issues going forward as well.
Cool. Yeah. Good.
So I did want to go back to, because we talked about hanging, but we also the psychedelic stuff of Takara in that. Oh, yeah. When she's becoming Poison Ivy, basically, like after she takes the drugs, like that page is, and I think Kavi showed this one, obviously.
That's a great one. I love that one. Anytime they have her looking like Jean Greyish at all, it's like great. It looks epic to me. Even though
I just love Takara's style, flames, just the way he draws her. Period.
Just stuff. Yeah, that was pretty.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
so good.
That's during the whole speed run.
That's the speed run of her kind of origin in the thing, and
her Gotham, her first appearance.
But you get here like Takara like going from like a panel like this to the current transition to what she's going through now.
Yeah. I love that bottom panel. Yeah, it's awesome.
And then her facing off with Woodrose, we jump back to the
present.
Oh
my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Look at the way they do like foreground, middle ground, background. The depth of that piece. Mm-hmm. It's so fantastic because you've got the characters at the front. That is the middle ground. But then the depth all the way through to Woodrue at the back and the colors behind him. Really,
you got
just everything is
Solomon. And
I mean, the colorist needs Arif Prieto, I believe, is the colorist.
Yeah,
what's the colorist? We talked about last time as well. He's an unsung hero of this book.
That page could have been a muddled mess if not delineated with the way they use the coloring for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Where's the? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So we got Arif Prieto.
Arif Prieto. I think he colored the whole book. I don't think there's a single issue he has not colored.
He does a fantastic job with the colors here.
It's really good.
And I still think, I love the lettering and the way the book does, where it jumps from Ivy, the way they do Ivy's thing. I think the lettering, which is
the lettering guy won an Eisner, I believe.
Yeah, Hassan Osman El Handu.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never heard of him, before.
He worked on a lot of books that year, and I think he was recognized. And Poison Ivy was one of the books that year that he won.
So, I think overall this is obviously the series that I love. It's fantastic. The art has been fantastic. I agree with you guys. I think these 3 issues we get 22, 23, and 24 from Haining. or how I forget the guy's name now.
Just we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Is the best of the substitute artists for Takara. And yeah, I think Wilson
I assume he's a digital artist, but I don't know. But I don't know for sure. But I assume just based on the style and the colorist does a lot of the heavy lifting also, like we were saying.
Oh, for sure. Especially on these psychedelic pages. Like that one that you have there behind you is just crazy. Like that, the color, like when you see the whole thing, because
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Can't quite get it. Doesn't quite do it justice trying to hold it up, but it's
it's a good collaboration. Like a lot of times you see colorists like ruining the art, the original art, and the original art is the far superior experience visually. A lot of the cases, but nowadays it's like it's such a crapshoot because a lot of the artists are working digitally and most of the colorists are working digitally. So
Okay. Any other thoughts before we give final thoughts on these two volumes here?
See if there's anything else I remember.
I mean, we definitely hit on all the big stuff for me. I am as a new omnibus collector, I am excited to kind of see how they want. It depends on how long they go, but I'm excited to see how they package this. For me, you have to kind of do 1 through 24 and then stop, which would be a smaller omni. I don't know how you would then just add 6 issues more.
Yeah.
I think if you did 6 more issues, it would be kind of a weird stopping point.
You could have the one shot with Swamp Thing in there, maybe.
Yeah, the feral trees.
So the feral, that one, and then I would say, like, if you look at it digitally, on gosh dang it, get off.
App?
It's being a pain. I'm trying to get it out of this issue, and it doesn't want to. It's just wanting to change the page and not let me go done. Stupid thing.
So I think I'm curious. I'm assuming that this run's going to get past issue 50, which would mean they got to maybe consider 2 volume omnibus sets. So where do you cut it and how do you organize it? I'm excited to kind of it'll have to determine like where they stop will determine. I think.
What I was going to say is if you're reading it in the digital, it includes, they had a 2-issue Night Terrors that comes in that I would assume would be included in the Omni as well. And then because it's annual. I think there's an annual,
but they're very unrelated to these issues, so it's easy to skip those, and they're not numbered as part of this. They're not numbered as part of it, but I would assume they would include them. They're by Wilson. I would assume they'd include them in the Omni. And for those months, there was no Poison Ivy issue that came out. Those were the issues for those months.
Yeah. So those will probably be included, but yeah, I would love to. I'm looking forward to getting that Omni and adding it to my shelf for sure. She's going to be at Wilson's going to be at PlanetCon in March, so I'm looking forward to getting a couple issues signed by her and talking to her a little bit. So hopefully get a chance to not just have to move through the line and talk to her for at least a second. So hopefully, but all right, final thoughts. John, I'll let you go first before I let Kavi get a say. You're the Poison Ivy guy. How do these 2 volumes wrap up this first big arc for you? What do you think about this as a whole at this point? 24 issues, the first 24 issues.
It's a very successful saga, and it meanders, but just in the right amount. I think that they have a lot of other artists come in, and I know that bothered some people. I think for all intents and purposes, for me, it worked. And when those other artists came in, it did not disrupt the flow or the narrative. But obviously, when Takara comes back, it's more consistent. And I will say 13 to 24, I found that less jarring because there were fewer of the issues that were like 4 artist issues or whatever. There were still a couple of them, but not as many as it felt like. That it was a little more. Yeah,
there was
the first 12.
Guillaume March and Kelly Jones and one other artist had like 3 to 5 pages in issue 13. Like,
Yeah.
but Takara had like the first page and the last page or something. So they tried to like wrap it in there around his art and kind of disguise it like that.
He does art
and then Luana Vecchio does 2 issues. She 17 and 18.
Yeah. Well,
so I didn't find their art as good.
17 and 18 is doing some of the pages too.
Yeah, and I think the artists are better. I think as the book was making money, they got better artists to be the subs, to come in, and it just worked. It worked better and flowed better for me. And then I think it culminates in climaxes. It was such a good finale for me that I kept buying the issues, but I didn't read any for a really long time because I was kind of letting that thing digest, and then read everything up to now in like a big chunk back in, I don't know, August. Sorry, back in August. I read and caught myself up for the most part. And it was nice to give it a break and like let it kind of stew a little bit those first 24.
Before we go on to Kavi's final thoughts and my final thoughts, John, I know you pulled a bunch of covers. We didn't. We talked about the interior art. We did not talk about the exterior art. So you want to show off some covers real quick before we?
So this is a Kai Carpenter issue 13. I like the ones with skulls. I like the ones with her and skulls. So she's like riding the skull, I guess. I'm there for it. I'm there for it. We got Sweeney Boo at the beach, Poison Ivy. Okay. There was a connecting variant when she finally reconnected with Harley.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
is that Guillaume?
That's 13, isn't it?
It's 13, and it's Harley 31.
Okay.
So the other issues from Harley, and the cover artists are listed as Claire Rowe and Triona Farrell.
Huh. Okay. Not familiar with them.
My favorite cover artist from this series has been Otto Schmidt, though. Freaking love Otto Schmidt covers.
Fierce, man. Yeah.
That is a wild cover.
That's like a 70s hairstyle, like
afro, right?
Afro. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's great.
Souza Micah did a few covers for this run. I thought were really cool. Seb McKinnon, of course, always doing spectacular covers for this series. Here's another Otto Schmidt cover that I really dug.
Love that one.
Beautiful.
So good. This is kind of a creepy cover with all the lamia spores growing out of her, but I was like, that's just
nice.
Wild. Here's the other Souza Micah cover. Goodness. Bilquis Evely did a variant that I thought.
Oh, hell yeah, nice.
And I thought, that's really great.
That's awesome.
Of course, Frank Cho did some of his Frank Cho-iness. The amount of detail on his, on his covers is just wild. And then I found this online variant that made me laugh. So I had to get the copper tone cover. And then the one I saved for last is Chris Bacalo. Did a really
cool
cover that I was like, well, it gives me Jay Lee vibes. I thought it was Jay Lee legitimately the first time I saw it.
You didn't show
any of them. Like a little bit, yeah.
I did not. I mean, I've got them all. If you,
no, you're fine. I'm just surprised. Normally, you're a big.
Those are my favorites. I do get all the DNA covers, but those are probably my favorites for this set.
I will say, like, for me, there's a couple that you did. I just want to point out, like, the amazing work that Jessica Fong does on just the A covers.
Yeah, the A covers are great, are really good.
The A covers are always great, and and she leans into the horror vibe of the book, which we didn't really talk about.
Horror stuff, right?
A lot of body horror stuff, and like her, this one that we talked about.
That's the one that I was like, oh, I can't buy this. I don't think I can buy this one.
But even here, like the origin of the
I got that one as a foil. There's a foil virgin variant of that cover.
Yeah.
So if you send that issue to CGC, is it considered like the origin of Poison Ivy now or no?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's still too recent.
Yeah, this one with the lab rat or the lab bunny, and yeah. So there's a bunch of really good ones. I also really like Oh, like from the horror standpoint, this one of Woodrow.
Oh
like,
yeah.
That's
like,
cool.
Yes. Gross.
Yeah.
Then you showed a show already. This I like this Bashar one. And
yes, that's a great one.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then what's there any others here?
That's like very anime style.
Yeah.
Did you show that one?
I did not. I don't think I have that one.
Yeah. I think that's a Middleton.
It looks like a Middleton. Yeah.
It should be on the barcode. They put them on the barcode now. They write the name of the artist.
Yeah. Oh, is it on the barcode?
Down the black little stripe.
Oh, Scott Forbes. That's Scott Forbes.
Scott Forbes.
I love that DC is doing that now. It's one of my favorite things.
Cool. Yeah, that's.
And then then this one here
she has risen.
She has risen. So yeah, a lot of fantastic covers. Kavi, I interrupted because I forgot to do that beforehand, but let's get back to your final thoughts, sir. What did you think of these volumes?
I mean, I liked it a lot more than I expected to going in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure, you know, like I've always liked the character to some degree, but never had enough like meaningful storylines that I connected with personally. So coming into it from that perspective, wasn't sure what this even was going to be. After volume 1 and 2, volume 1 and 2, I was on board, and I was pretty satisfied with the way that this whole first main story played out for the most part. Like I said, some of the stuff around the changes with the Lamia itself was probably the weakest for me, just because I just felt it was a little bit hard to keep track of. But everything else was pretty much on point. And even that is just like basically a nitpick. You know what I mean? So, you know, you force me to give this like a rating or a score or whatever. It would be like a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10, you know, like, which for me, it's like, I wouldn't give too many books that are on the shelf right now from the big two, especially. So that for me, that's pretty much high. That's as high praise as I can give a big two book right now. I wouldn't be giving any big two book right now a 5 out of 5, you know, or a 10 out of 10 or whatever you want to call it, a perfect book. But this is one of the best, if not the best, on DC that I've read.
John,
I've read since like the Ron V Swamp Thing run, which I loved. So that's probably my favorite that I've read since that one on DC. So.
Yeah,
it's always been a book that makes my best of DC every year, but it's never been one that cracked my best of the year list.
Yeah,
indies tend to dominate.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
As far as my favorite books at DC, it's always been like right in the number 2 or 3 spot, because I've loved Tom King's Wonder Woman, and the current Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson is phenomenal. Yeah. Those books have always just kind of rocked the top spot.
Yeah, I think for the year that we were reading this portion of it, I think that was very much, you know, for me, it was this and Tom King's Wonder Woman were basically the 2 books, because that was before the Absolute Wonder Woman was coming out for me from DC. I really just love the story. I love that she gives there is this kind of horror undertone to it with the spores and the body horror a little bit and stuff. But I really just love the way Ivy's portrayed here. Like we talked about in the origin of like, he is awful and sort of the villain of her story, but all the choices, she makes all the choices like that leads her to where she is. And we see her through the course of this book, like struggling with both her, like trying to, like when she tries to help people, but then also turns around and does awful things, like when she helps Janet and the lady at the thing, and she turns the lady into this monstrosity early in the book. And
dude, I mean, if anything, I'd like to see more B to C to even D tier character, whether villains or heroes, standalone books. you know, just like this to me proves that like it can be done, and it can even be turned into an ongoing series that's very successful. And it's like, well, you know, try it with somebody else. I'd be interested, you know,
for sure. So. All right. Well, we're hour and 10 minutes. Unless you guys got anything else, I think we can wrap it right there.
No. I this was an unexpected but pleasant detour. Even though it's Gotham, it's like it's not Batman,
Yes.
It's cool to read.
Well, I'm
definitely interested in keeping going, but I think maybe read a Batman story in between this time.
Oh yeah.
And then come back to it. I would say,
Well, it was one of those things when you were like, "Hey, let's do this again," and like, "What should I be reading that's Gotham related?" And I was like, "Well, we got to get you on this because this is just so."
Yeah, it was great, and I also appreciate like how quick of a read it is in a good way. Like, yeah, the art's great. You can stop and stare and spend 10 minutes on a page if you really want.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you could also consume that same page in 10 to 15 seconds. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it's not very dialogue heavy. It's well written, but without being very dialogue heavy. And I kind of appreciate that.
I mean, it's more her inner dialogue than it is dialogue in terms of
exactly, narration, a lot of narration and a lot of
and even that's not overwhelming. It's like a sentence a panel kind of thing. It's not like it's not the old school Chris Claremont giant box in the corner.
Yeah, I love that too. But it's gonna take, it's not if you are on the fence for trying this book, it's not going to be that time consuming to check it out.
No,
I will say there were a couple of good Batman books from 2025 you would like Dark Patterns.
Dark Patterns, I'm really looking forward to. Is it fully out in a trade now?
I don't know that they've released a trade, but I know that it's done. So it is all out. And then I know JP's about to pick up Batman and Robin Year One, probably right there next.
We talked about that. We talked about doing that one specifically.
And those two, I think, were really remarkable Bat stories. And I'm not the biggest current Bat fanboy, but those two, you will absolutely love the daylight.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Dark Patterns. Really,
but honestly, Lonely City, Catwoman, Lonely City is probably the best Batman related book I've read in 10 years. Like I'm obsessed with Lonely City. That one, one is top of the tier for me, and that is a 5 out of 5. That one is a perfect read.
I agree, but it's Elseworlds, and it's not.
This is canon, obviously.
Yeah, it's got its own rules. It's easier to be. It's easier to take that level of risk.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right,
but we did. How long ago did we do Lonely City? Like a few months ago.
November, October.
Yeah, but I loved rereading that because I hadn't reread it since it came out, and rereading it was really good. Yeah, it was really good.
So, all right, well. Thanks, Lasso, for hanging out with us. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, Ryan. Yeah, whatever happened to Punchline?
Wolf was here earlier hanging out. I don't know if he's still here or not, but appreciate everybody. It looks like I got 4 or 5 people still hanging out, so appreciate all those folks. And with that, we're going to get out of here. Yeah, great show tonight. Always love talking a little Batman-related stuff with my man Kavi. And, if we're talking Poison Ivy, we have to include John. Like, if we were talking Wonder Woman, you have to include Lasso. So, so Adam makes stuff.
Is there a Wonder Woman Batman crossover, like Wonder Woman 66, Batman 70, whatever that book is, that we could get Ryan on for, or no?
We'll have to think about that. What's a good one to do?
I bet he would have ideas.
He probably
you tell us, Ryan. You tell us.
Yeah, let us know, Ryan, and we'll get you on here and hang out with you.
He says there are a few
there are a few. I'm just trying to think of what the best ones would be. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us the best one.
Yeah. All right. With that,
see you guys.
See ya. If I can find the out. Oh, wait, before I go, I almost forgot. Shout out channel members. Big thank you to all those folks. Appreciate them. And with that, we're out of here. See ya.